Hi everyone, welcome to Board of Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is the Tier 10 German medium tank that I don't have. It's the E50M, and if it's anything like the E50, I know I'm going to love it. I love watching these replays of tanks that I don't yet have. I've had it researched for a while, the E50M, but I haven't bought it yet just because of credits. And this replay's been driven by my old mate MatchyHK from DPX Clan. He's on Lakeville. And unusually, he sent me a few replays on Lakeville in the last month or so, mainly with Russian mediums, and in the Russian mediums he's been going up the lake road. But you can look on the mini map, you can see they've already got a good presence on that road. You can see the Skoda T50 at Tier 9, the Panther, and the Tier 10 TVP T50-100, as well as a couple more mediums sort of sniping from the back. T95 on the enemy side's definitely got a sense of humour. Pushing down the lake road, he's obviously been spotted. He's about to have probably 10 guns shooting at him, but how many of them do damage we won't know, because it is the T95. Matchy tracks him. Not sure if it was a good idea to actually track him there, because he's in a spot where he's in a bit of cover. I think if Matchy had let him come a little bit further forward, maybe Matchy as well as the tanks just ahead of Matchy might have had some side shots on the heavily armoured Tier 9 American tank destroyer. Now the Panther 88's all alone now on that lake road. Look, all those tanks that were sniping from sort of H4 area have all gone to push the valley, which, look, when it works, but it doesn't often work. It's not always the best thing to do. Now Matchy's got some nice shots into the side of the T95. Of course, the T95 is well known as being really, really slow, but also really, really heavily armoured. The frontal armour on the T95 is very, very hard to penetrate, especially with standard ammunition. But the downside of that means that the back and the sides are quite easy to penetrate, especially when you're in a big Tier 10 medium tank. Now, the reason I like the E50, the Tier 9 German medium tank, probably the same reason I like the E75. It might not have been the quickest tank in the game, but it had pretty good armour. You could play it like a heavy tank if you wanted to, or you could play it like a medium tank. Now the E50M, as I mentioned earlier, I don't have it yet. It looks like it's quite similar to the E50. It's definitely faster, I've noticed that already. It's got that good, accurate German gun, but one would imagine that it can bounce a little bit of damage as well. So Matchy is getting into a pretty aggressive spot on the eastern side of the map, in the town of Lakeville. Matchy's side, they have plenty going the valley, and look at all those enemy tanks that have been spotted around the town. So Matchy's going to take the high roads just to make sure he's not sniped out by this grill. That grill would have shots straight into this area through that gap through the buildings there. That's what grills like to do. But Matchy is taking the grill's gun out of the game, as effectively for his tank anyway, by putting the, I think it's a church, between him and where the enemy grill is. Puts a shot into the IS-3, as does the grill on Matchy's side, and he knows that he'll be able to reload before the IS-3 reloads. Picks himself up a kill, and now he's got to have a look at these tanks that are down here. The MKR, my kitchen rules, what I often call it, but it's the MKR, the Korea pattern, the American premium tank. Puts a bit of damage into him, and he puts some damage into the bat chat. You've always got to be respectful of bat chats, and this one is no different. When they start unloading 400 odd hit points of damage every couple of seconds, it can take any tank down to a one-shot pretty quickly. Anyway, the score's 4-3. Our mate MatchyHK's picked up 2,381 hit points of damage already. But some of the tanks that have come with him to this part of the map, looking a little bit second-hand. Gets a shot into the KV-4. It'll take at least 2 more shots to kill that KV-4. So he's angling his tank well. Only picks up 285 hit points of damage. And I reckon Matchy will be able to reload before the KV-4 will. And so he pulls back, trying to get another shot onto him, but doesn't quite have the angle. And now he's just looking for a cheeky shot. Does that work? definitely hit him, but it bounced. Now the grill getting very aggressive. Shoots. The grill shoots and misses, which means Matchy's going to have to put at least 2 shots into the tier 8 heavy tank. Now that KV4's just fired, but Matchy wants to get rid of the tier 10 Russian medium tank, the Object 140. Or the Spick. Spick's got real brave, real quick. He sets him on fire, leaves him on 85 hit points. Doesn't really want to go around that way because it might bring the enemy grill into the game. Looking at the mini-map, it looks like it's a bit of a shit fight on the other side of the map. It's the Object 140 taking on the E75 and the other tanks taking on the IS-7. That looks like, look, just based on numbers, it looks like that engagement might be going on for a little bit too long, but maybe it's taken the enemy tanks a while to get down here. But all these tanks on the western side really look like they're maybe out of position, I don't know. 8-5 is the score, but now the friendly tanks on the Lake Valley are heavily outnumbered now. It's just a tier 8 French Liberté tank against 2 tier 10s and a tier 9, and that was never going to end well. The enemy IS-7 taking him out of the game and sending him back to the garage. Looks like the grill's going on his own forward, which is very unusual for a grill player. The medium tanks coming up the central road to try and keep these tanks lit, who are quickly retreating back towards their base. But Matchy knows that pretty soon the IS-7, the grill and the E75, all 3 of them might be on their cap pretty soon. The Skoda T50 understandably not getting too far forward, and Matchy letting him know in the game chat that I'll spot and make sure they don't cap. He's loaded premium ammunition. The ammunition on the E50, the premium ammunition has 330 penetration for 390 damage. That's heat, and of course the APCR 270 penetration for 390 damage. So it looks like the IS-7, the E75 and the grill, looks like they may have gone back. Oh, there they are. Looks like they've halfway gone to the base, but it didn't really push on. Looks like they're not really interested in capping out, which is something I thought they might have done. Puts a couple of shots towards the E75, not lucky enough to connect on this occasion. Looks like the IS-7's in a bit of trouble on 27 health, and E75 is on pretty low health as well. Looks like the grill's also gone back to try and help reset. Matchy takes him out using a high explosive round there because he was only on 25 hit points. Just wanted to make sure that the damage would get done. And now the E75's a one shot as well. He's still got the premium round loaded. That shot just went a little bit wide. Scores 10 apiece. And now he takes his time to aim. He just pulls back behind a rock just before Matchy aims, but it doesn't matter. He exposes his commander's hatch, the cupola, and Matchy picks up his 4th kill of the game. He's already picked up 4,209 hit points of damage, and now he's going to make. Now we're going to see how good the engine is on this German tier 10 medium tank as he goes through the swampy grasslands of the Valley of Death. He's got 2 lower tier light tanks following him. The RU only on 300 hit points, and the AMX 1357F, the grand final tank, which was on special not so long ago with the advent calendar. Now Matchy hasn't been spotted yet, but is searching for a shot. You can see the Leopard PTA, that's probably who spotted him as well, but that grill's on full health. That's going to be an issue. Grill can afford to take a shot from MatchyHK, but then he can put one into Matchy and really ruin his day. These other guys, the Skoda has opted to go the road, and the grill is kicking back here, sniping. He's probably taken a fair bit of damage, the grill, because he did lead the charge through this 9-0 line into the city. The Leopard PTA gets spotted again. Matchy will be very thankful there's no artillery, or maybe he's wishing there was artillery from his side, because that would be an easy target for any decent artillery driver to take out the Leopard prototype tier 9 German medium tank. Matchy deciding to try and take this from a different angle here. He's pulling right back. The RU251 staying there. The AMX 1357 has run a long way away. Looks like the AMX 1357. He's going to try and spot for that grill, which is not a bad idea at all. If that AMX 1357 can get into these bushes, the T7 French premium light tank, if he can get into these bushes around the A5, 6, 7 area, he should be able to light these tanks up, and the grill could probably move up to A8 and snipe him out without the fear of getting spotted. Matchy communicating in the chat. Skoda T50, wait for me, because the Skoda T50 is on very low health, and obviously with an E50M on 1365 hit points, they can do a much more effective push than just the Skoda on his own. 1375 probably got a little bit too close there. Well, not probably, he definitely got spotted and killed. 1375, I reckon he could have probably spotted from A6 or 7 rather than coming all the way up to B6. Now the Skoda T50, hopefully he shows a bit of patience and waits for Matchy, because if anyone's going to take a shot, it has to be Matchy. Matchy's the one with the health. The Skoda T50 should have known there that the enemy tanks would be aiming that way because Matchy had been spotted. Maybe the Skoda T50 didn't know that Matchy was spotted and didn't think that he was. So the enemy tanks looking for some shots on the two German medium tanks. Now they're actually down a tank now. MatchyHK has picked up 4 kills, 4,500 hit points of damage. Now the Leopard was on a very small amount of health. The Batchat's on 739 hit points. Looks like the T28 prototype's on full health. Even though it's a tier 8, the fact that he's on full health is a massive advantage to the enemy side. Very nice shot into the Batchat there from MatchyHK. Takes the Batchat down to a much more manageable level. He did have a fair amount of health up his sleeve, 370 hit points. The grill takes out the T28 prototype. Again, even though it's tier 8, it's still a tank you got to kill. And bearing in mind he was on some very high health at one stage. Now that RU251 is obviously lost his nerve a little bit. He is on very low hit points, so he's probably thinking, oh, I'll go back just so that if the enemy start trying to cap us out, we don't know where the grill is. The grill could be going down for a sneaky cap. Matchy blind shots a shot in the direction of the Leopard and the Batchat. Looks like the Leopard and the Batchat are just content just to camp this one out here. Nearly, he did have a shot on that Batchat there, but just not quick enough on the mouse button. It's always thirsty work commentating on MatchyHK's replays because they're always full of action. Matchy puts a blind shot into the bushes, hoping for a very lucky kill. The 2-minute warning goes off, and Matchy's just throwing a few cheeky blind shots towards the enemy tanks. With 1:50 to go, and Matchy does have the health to take a hit or two. Now that he knows that the grill's out of the picture, the grill's right around that corner. The grill's right around that corner there. Probably focusing on the 251. Matchy knows he's got the flexibility to move all the way up to A2 and get around these rocks and hills without having to risk any damage from the grill. Does the right thing and ignores the Leopard, pushes forward and takes a shot from the Batchat. It takes the Batchat out first, knowing that if the Batchat unloads its clip into him, he's gone for all money. And that's a move that won him the game. And now the grill's focusing on Matchy. Matchy takes him down to 20 odd hit points, and the RU251 confirms the kill and picks up the last kill of the game for an awesome win from MatchyHK. It is E50M, the Tier 10 big German medium tank. He's picked himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge. Hand of God, Bruiser, Duelist and Fire for effect. The high caliber and of course the Top Gun for picking up 6 kills. 5,814 hit points of damage for his 6 kills. Makes for an absolutely awesome game on Lakeville featuring our mate MatchyHK in his Tier 10 German medium tank. You can see on the post-game battle results he fired 35 shots. Remember all those blind shots that went towards the enemy medium tanks at the end of the game, so you take them out of it. 28 of the 35 shots hit, which tells me it's a pretty accurate gun. Only 18 did damage though. There were some bounces. 5,814 damage, 1,100 blocked by armor, which tells me the E50M's more than holds its own, similar to the Tier 9 E50. And he also did 1,178 spotting damage. On the last page, he lost a few credits because he did fire some premium ammunition and he did fire a few shots that didn't hit the target, but all in all, a pretty good result with MatchyHK in the E50M, the Tier 10 German medium tank, the one that I haven't got. And as I said, I might have said, I might not have, it's a double shot of E50M action featuring our mate MatchyHK, and he's platooning with two of his old mates from DPX clan, Cannonball, who we've definitely seen before, and On 9999 Son. I hope Matchy lets me know how to pronounce his name. On Son with the 9s in the middle, or On 9999 Son, I don't know. Anyway, Matchy, On Son and the Cannonball, all in them Tier 10 medium tanks. They're on Westfield, and they're going to, well, On Son and Matchy are going to where the medium tanks normally go, on Westfield, which is the southeast corner. And looks like Cannonball in his pattern. Another tank that I'm really looking forward to buying. He's going to do a little bit of sniping and make sure that the town is okay. As Matchy picks up his first shot into the enemy STB-1, the Japanese medium tank. Looks like he's tracked as well. He's aiming. Picks up the kill. It's less than a minute old, this game, and he's already picked up a Tier 10 kill. Matchy's got to be happy with the start of this game. As he moves towards, he has been spotted, he moves towards this mound, so he can use this as a little bit of cover from not only artillery, but anyone who might be sniping from over here. Pretty confident to say that this town's under control with all these tanks here. I doubt he'll get sniped out from the town. Tier 10 checker auto loader, looks like he's in a bit of a trouble. On Son and Matchy, both tag teaming him, and Hot Diggity in the match chat from Amiga Clan picks up the kill. Comfortably winning 2-zip. Now this game won't go for as long as the last one did, as Matchy takes aim at the 1390, and there's the enemy E50M on 2,050 hit points. That's going to take a few shots to turn him into a little piece of German scrap metal. Again, looking at the minimap, looks like the enemy have the advantage in the normal heavy tank area of the map. Now somehow he got shot by that baby Batchat. Somehow that baby Batchat wasn't spotted. Now even though it's only a Tier 9, it's a tank that needs to be killed because it's an auto loader, and we all know that auto loaders can be devastating. So unload a clip into you at any stage of the game. He's only on 30 hit points now. Just goes a little bit wide, that shot. That would have been the kill shot for MatchyHK. But the TVP T5051, the Tier 10 check tank on Matchy's side, picks up the kill. It tries to get a shot into the Jagdpanzer E100, but Jagdpanzer E100 is clearly under a little bit of cover. And Matchy and On Son tag team the Arty to get rid of one of the clickers out of the game before looking at the 1390 and that E50M again. They haven't run away at all. Now they need to get rid of them because they're going to be getting lit up for the Jagdpanzer E100. No idea where the Jagdpanzer's aiming. He is aiming Matchy's way. The Jagdpanzer just put a shot into one of the tanks or towards where Matchy's going. So Matchy's going to keep moving and try and get rid of this little French tank. Even though it's only a Tier 8, he wants to make sure that he doesn't get lit up. And spotted for the Jagdpanzer E100. And you have a look at the other side of the map. The other side of the map is in a world of trouble. Batchat's just been taken out by the IS-7, and this big, heavy, brawling area has been absolutely dominated by the enemy side. Matchy's side's winning 6-5, and Matchy's doing the right thing for his team, keeping this Jagdpanzer lit and tracked. At least I thought he was going to track it then. He was definitely trying to, and the Jagdpanzer being forced to give MatchyHK the side of his tank as he tries to take on 9999 Son. 7-7 is the score. They've taken the Jag out of the game, and artillery takes out the IS-7. Cannonball takes out the E5, bringing the scoreboard to a much more manageable level at 9-7. Now On Son doesn't have a huge amount of hit points left. He's on about 900. Matchy's on 1700. They're obviously talking in TeamSpeak. Skype or whatever means they use to communicate. And this Onson's going to sit on the cap and try and confirm the win. Or MatchyHK comes up into the central part of the match, tries to make sure he doesn't get reset. Very lucky just to be tracked from that shot by the Batchat. He gets himself into a nice low position to try and stop the French autoloader putting too much damage into it. Looks like the Batchat might be reloading now, and that's why he's running away. Only on 12 hit points of damage, that Batchat, but we know he's going to have Freds. There's less than a minute to go on the cap counter. They're winning 10-8, and Onson looks like he's leaving the cap circle and he's coming up to try and help. Maybe put some damage into the Mouse. Mouse has given Matchy his side. Matchy knows the Mouse gun isn't as magnificent as its armour is, and now the Batchat's going for the kill, a ram kill to finish off the Batchat. Gives Matchy his second kill, searching for a weak spot, gets a shot into the Mouse, takes 478 hit points of damage in return from the Mouse, waiting for the reload, puts a shot into the cheeks of the Mouse, a big tier 10 German heavy tank, and now it's a case of mopping up the last two remaining tanks. Of course, the auto-loading tier 10 French Batchat artillery, with 4 shells in its clip, has already received one shot from MatchyHK, so it's only going to be a one shot to kill the artillery, and that WZ-120, he could be absolutely anywhere by now. The tier 9 Chinese medium tank. So on 99, having a look where the WZ-120 was last spotted, and MatchyHK going straight over the top. He knows he's here somewhere because he's been spotted, and we'll be happy to see that tank's on full health, because that's more damage you can get. Wait for the reload, puts another 400 damage into the WZ, takes a shot in return. He's down to 223 hit points, our mate Matchy. Fires again, but the WZ is just too quick. The Cannonball will say, no worries, I've got this covered. I'm on a lot more health than you, mate. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kills in that platoon. 9 kills between the 3 players, and it's an absolutely awesome result from MatchyHK and his platoon mates, as Matchy picks up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge yet again on Westfield. Hand of God, Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Confederate for hitting more enemy vehicles than any other player on the team. The Steel Wall, I told you it had good armour, the E50M, and of course the High Caliber medal. Looking at the second page of the post-game battle results, 6,801 hit points of damage for his 3 kills, 1278 experience. Cannonball had an even better game with 1,301 base experience. That's 4 kills, 5,901 hit points of damage, and 1,749 spotting damage, whereas MatchyHK got 1,118 spotting damage for his 6,801 damage done. Not a bad game at all from our mate MatchyHK in his E50M, a big German medium tank which he loves. 45,000 profit. I don't think he used much premium ammunition in that replay. I don't think he really needed to. He absolutely ruffle-stomped the enemy side in both of those games. Thanks very much for those replays, Matchy, and everyone don't forget to check out Matchy's YouTube channel, which I'll put a link in the video description. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed these replays. I certainly have. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.